Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Nathan, I'm here with Holly.
Hello.
Holly, today we are talking about The Forest.
We are.
Which is apparently, as I've described it in the title, like a first-person Don't Starve with cannibals.
Yeah. It's a bit more realistic in the sense that it's very grown-up looking.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a little bit scary. Actually.
It can be, and it can also not be, which we will explain.
Yes.
This is kind of an everything you need to know. This is the first gameplay. We happened upon it at PSX.
Yeah, you spotted it. We were seeing another game, and you were like, grabbed me and were like, we need to look at this game now.
Yeah.
And off we went, and then we were like, hey, all developers, all 5 of you who made this game.
Yeah, I know.
Can you show us
Frankly,
this game while we play, please?
So, top down. Give me the overview.
Okay, so this game's actually been in early access for the last 3 to 4 years. It's a single-player game on one side, and it's also a 4-person online co-op game, if that is more your jam.
Yeah.
If you want.
Sometimes it is.
Now, the game itself is a bit of plane crash.
Yeah.
And as the plane came down, you were with your son.
Yep.
And all you sort of saw through the blood and the haze was what was potentially a cannibal carrying your son away.
A naked man covered in blood
Basically.
takes your son.
Question mark cannibal.
And you're mad about it.
Yeah. Now, the idea is you're actually a survival expert.
Yeah.
You're a famous survival expert, actually. Think Bear Grylls almost. That's a bit like that.
Yeah.
And you're now trying to survive in this world and find your son. There's no dialogue. The story's not told through dialogue. And I always like that, actually, because it means you've got to be creative.
So the first thing that happens, I loved how much of this is kind of, we were taken through a demo, which obviously speeds up the process. But you can imagine playing this for the first time. You land your plane, you don't land it, you crash it. You come out and immediately you're gathering resources. And that's what reminded me so much of Don't Starve. And
Yes.
I think that if you're playing it in single player, they said, look, it can be a pretty scary experience.
Yeah.
Because there are, so the map is always the same, but where you crash is random.
Yes.
And so...
you could get really unlucky.
And so, yeah, all the items around you and also the encounters with the enemies are also random. And the encounters, I think, get more... the type of enemy that you encounter gets tougher and tougher as you progress.
They do.
And then as you're doing these, you're gathering resources, you're beginning to build stuff, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. And the enemies are, getting harder and harder, and then you'll find a cassette or a camcorder or just some photographs, and these are the things which tell you the story.
Yes, and because the world is so lush and so big, you really don't want to do the story.
Yeah.
They were like, you can just go off and build and explore and survive. You don't have to follow the story,
Well,
but it does encourage you. You will learn to explore by doing the story.
So this is what reminded me of Don't Starve, because there are things you can put together in Don't Starve which, will lead into an overarching narrative, or you could just, farm carrots forever.
That's your jam. They were saying like some people just
Carrot jam.
They just do deforestation. They just want to go around.
Yeah. And it takes ages to cut down a tree.
Yeah.
But you can cut down every plant and every tree.
Yes, you can, and it's persistent on your saves. So if you cut them down and save, that's it.
And then
they're gone.
You can build enormous things, and I loved actually the building system. I don't know if this is in other games, and I've just not seen it.
So clever.
But so you are picking out of your own book about survival, which I liked as a thing.
Yes. So all the blueprints you already have to start with because you wrote the book. Yeah.
You've literally wrote the book.
So you don't have to find blueprints or learn them.
So
you just know everything.
You know everything, and once you select what to build, it exists where you have chosen to put it as a kind of a ghost blueprint, but in 3D space. And then instead of like how many games do you have to do? It's like, oh, you need 58 twigs and a ribbon, and then you're like, oh, I better get 58 twigs. If you have 12 twigs will go into the blueprint.
Dragon Quest Builders actually does the same thing. If you place a blueprint, it'll fill up what you put down, but it'll then leave like just a ghost where you still need to fill in the blanks.
Because it just made me feel like it relieved me of the tension of like I've got to get everything together and then deliver it all at once.
I hate that.
You can kind of build in installments, which is like more realistic, I think.
Well, yeah, because you just like when you cut down a tree, you then have to carry the log on your shoulder. You can't just put it in your backpack.
Which you can carry 3 like trees at once. You're like Arnie from Commando. So I like this, and I like some of the stuff that I glimpsed in the building manual. It was like
it was a gazebo.
There was a gazebo. There was an armor rack. And there were some other bits and pieces. But you know what you should tell us about, which is because one of the things you can build is also a fire, which you do with some twigs and some leaves, and your lighter. And then they were saying they wanted to apply a lot of the game's systems to most of the things you could find in the game. The same kind of logic applies to it. So, and they showed us one cool example of
Are you
this,
going to
didn't
mention
they?
a turtle?
Yeah, I thought I would leave that. You can, yeah. So that
I think I've got a history of killing turtles from Far Cry games. Whenever I cover Far Cry games,
You're a murderer.
The turtles have to go.
right.
So we found a turtle, walked down to the ocean,
Yep.
found a turtle, speared the turtle in the head.
Yep.
Then we
That's what
cut
they
off the
deserve.
turtle's beak because we might want to put it as a trophy in whatever fort we're building.
Of course.
And then we took the turtle's shell. Now that could be used as a shield or as a weapon
Yeah.
or as a bobsled.
Yeah.
And
of
there was,
course.
and they said there's a snowy part. Like we've obviously spawned in the foresty part.
Yeah.
But there is a whole snowy mountainous area, and he's like, you can pretty much bobsled down half the map if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
your jam.
Or you can put it within a building and it will collect water for you.
Yeah, it's
so,
It was a water collector because you do need to collect these resources.
Yeah.
So
and actually, maybe this is a good time to talk about the bottom right-hand side.
yes, exactly what we're
They
gonna
have
do.
quite a sophisticated little. There's obviously health. Then there's, I think, like there
Energy.
was a big. Well, the energy and stamina systems are interlinked, aren't they?
Yes. So if you've only got 75% of your energy for the day, you've only got 75% of your stamina.
Yeah. So and the stamina is the one that goes down on a kind of a short-term basis when you do activities.
Yes.
And it will only replenish yourself up to your maximum current energy level.
Yes, and for that you've got to, for energy, you need to sleep or rest.
Yes, and eat stuff. And then there's combat. The little cannibal things that jumped out was scary as hell and tough as well.
Now they said the ones that jumped out were the developers call them skinnies,
And they were the weakest.
and these were the weakest ones.
Yeah.
But they also said that like when you do kill them, you can then individually chop up the body parts. At one point, he's like, "Let's just use this arm as a weapon."
Yeah.
And it's like, right.
Well, one of the things which the guy did as well, we didn't ever come back and finish it off, but put the skull onto a fire
Yeah.
to cook it so that the skull could then, you can make like a mace weapon if
Yeah.
you put it on a stick. I was like, he was just like, they were so matter of fact about this stuff. They're like, then you can put the skull on a stick. And I was like, but why? Why would you put it on it?
They're
It's
like,
for
one
a
of like,
weapon.
you can like decorate your house with it, and I was like,
Yeah,
May-
it
I
could
mean,
be.
probably not what I want on my gazebo, but thanks.
It could be my pimp stick.
my
Just-
pimp stick.
So yeah. So what I liked about that was that obviously the game is sort of playing, I think, with the idea of, some of the things you're doing are pretty brutal, but there's also you're using everything and all of the things which you chop up and harvest, whether they be turtles, trees, or
Yeah.
which is just a little. It's just like they wanted to make same as building things. The crafting is logical and
Yes.
straightforward. So you just combine. If you want to make like a hammer or an axe, it's stone, bit of wood, rope.
Put together. Thank you very much. There's a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
They know that it's about 25 minutes for a daytime, 25 minutes for nighttime.
Nighttime
That's
is scary.
actually quite a long cycle because
Yeah.
that's a long time to be in the dark. It's quite atmospheric.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. you're gonna
On your
wanna-
own, I actually thought it was a little bit scary.
Well, they were
but then
showing
I'm
us.
the worst.
They were, definitely. I agree. And do you know what? They were showing us the game systems. So they didn't really build anything finished because they would have had to chop down a lot of trees, which is
Yeah.
quite time consuming. So I was like quite scared about the onset of night. It would have been we would have just been out in the open. And one of the things we didn't mention about the enemies is that their AI was like really elusive, and then they kept climbing trees, and then
Yeah.
they could come out of the trees.
It was awful. It was awful.
So I think that, and also then when we went into, I think it was where the next stage of the story would have been
Yeah.
in a cave. Some of the things we saw in the cave were unpleasant.
I didn't like them.
Mounds of dead mutated babies, and a sort of a Silent Hill-esque
It was Silent Hill-esque, wasn't it?
being,
Yeah.
which was the end of the game.
Which was the end of the game. But sometimes if you do die, the cannibals might drag you off. You almost get like a second chance. Like
That's true.
Tomb Raider styled, like sort of cut yourself down.
Yeah, I was thinking of Luke in the Wampacade, but yeah, that
Oh,
I mean,
I just thought of
well,
reboot Tomb Raider.
yeah, I think you're probably
Uh,
close to the mark, to be fair. So, I mean, this was this game came out of the blue a little bit for us today, and we were really impressed by it,
Really impressed.
and can just see all the ways in which it could be
I
really
can't wait for us
fun to
all,
mess around with.
four of us to play it together and fight, because that's eventually what will happen.
So yeah, that was our first look at The Forest on PlayStation 4. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you like this video? If you enjoyed it, stay tuned to PlayStation Access. We've always got loads more coming up from the world of PlayStation.